if you could introduce yourself.
I'm James Lancaster. I'm a member of MakeICT and actually the vice president. I've been around here for quite a while, and we have many Jameses, and if you ask for the 3D printed James, that's me. So.
All right. So, what kinds of things do you work on in the space most often? What's your passion projects? What got you interested in making?
Well, what's got me interested in making was a lot of things, because I would do various things. I actually, before MakeICT even started, I actually had heard about a couple of spaces like that, and then when I was acquiring, so I looked for a space like that because I was living in an apartment then, and then I started acquiring some tools, and then found a couple of people starting to generate a makerspace. So found them, joined, and in terms of what got me initially interested, probably 3D printing. It's a very useful tool for doing just about anything. So but I do metalwork, woodwork, basically everything that we've got here.
So are there any projects you're particularly proud of having done in this space?
Right now I'm working on a telescope project. When I was traveling in California, I lucked into getting a telescope that was on a manual mount, and what I've done is gone through with a couple different projects and made it so that it's now motorized, controllable, and I'm actually working on improving the driver for the Arduino control board, which also works on some other control boards as well. So I've done UV printing is a fun one with resin. It enables a pretty high quality that you're not going to get with a regular plastic printer. I got one of those at home, and it comes here occasionally, and I do some CNC stuff. So a whole bunch of different things that are all kind of fun.
All right. And how did you learn the things you needed to learn to get into these processes?
Mostly I'm self-taught. I read a lot, and I also later on would look at things like YouTube and such like that. Just reading a lot and figuring things out. I have a background in mathematics and anthropology, which is a rare combination. But what it is if you're constantly trying to figure out how things work, then you're looking at it and going, okay, so this fits here, and I can use this to do this. One of the most awesome things about when I give people tours and everything around here is them seeing kind of the dawning of, oh, I can use this combined with this to make things that go together, and that's pretty awesome. I mean, whether it's things like here in the print shop, we've done laser cut blocks where you don't have to carve the linoleum, and it's, combinations of things, or having all sorts of tools together make it a lot better is one of the things that's fun.
So if you were to encounter a young person who is interested in doing some of the things that you do, what kinds of tips or advice can you offer them?
Don't stop learning, read, talk to people, see what's interesting about that, and just keep working on something. And if it frustrates you, then just kind of leave it and then come back to it. For example, many years ago, like before 2000, I started trying to use Blender. Blender at that time was a combination of not the most user-friendly, and also the computer I was trying to run it on was not the most amenable to 3D graphics. But so I looked at it, got frustrated, went back to it, got frustrated again, went back to it the third time, and then Blender just kind of clicked. And I use Blender for all sorts of weird random things. I even use Blender to design circuit boards to go inside models because it's a lot easier than conventional circuit board design, because they don't react well to, you need to have this shape and then these positioned exactly here, because most of them are based on either grids or just components. So if you don't have it so that the components can rotate easily, like something you can do in them, but it's a heck of a lot easier to just design it in Blender and then cut it out.
And then the last question I like to hit people with is, who is a maker? Where does the boundaries on that term lie?
That is a very wide term, in my opinion. Pretty much, I know there is debate as to whether or not it's someone who makes from a very specific thing, but I prefer an encompassing definition where that includes, like people doing screen printing, textiles work, ceramics, traditional woodworking, 3D printing, metalwork, CNC, everything where if you're just making stuff. I mean, arts and crafts, I would, the kind of most people consider silly, I'd consider a maker. It's a very wide area that can be used. Like, if you think about it, some of the definitions like 3D printing. Well, if you go back and look, it's additive manufacturing, if you look at it that way. Painting and welding are also additive manufacturing methods, with some blending in both of them. So, but it's a very, makers should be encompassing of everything, as opposed to just kind of going, well, it's only 3D printing, it's only CNC, it's only this or that, or whatever limited definition you want. But that's my opinion, and shared by a lot of people, I think, but it is by no means universal. So.